the WikiLeaks Afghan War Logs, which came at maybe the peak of the Afghan War, showed us, it really highlighted the fact that the public at home didn't know what was going on. And it made public a version of the war which was familiar to us, but in a much broader way. It wasn't just the atomized experiences that we were trying to patch together of being a soldier for 6 months here. It wasn't just the individual thing, but it laid out the whole kind of breadth and nature and tempo of the occupation. And particularly for those of us who resisted it, and there were many, it showed that we were right to say that civilian casualties were high, which is often denied by the British government. We were right to say that there was a dirty war, a covert war underway, which very often departed from international law. And we were right to say that the insurgency there, when you look at the pattern of bombings, escalated because of our presence. Our presence became a lightning rod for the insurgency and reinvigorated the Taliban and the insurgency, who had for the large part left before we entered in 2006. And I was in one of the first units off the plane in what we might call the second phase of the Afghan war after it died down and the focus was on Iraq for a number of years. And it showed us that the public at home were misinformed. It was a very jarring experience to come home and try to explain to people what was happening. And all they had was the official narrative, if you like, which was generally, in many cases, MOD press statements, which were just recycled about what was going on. In Afghanistan, it proved that we were right. And I can remember being a young soldier, drones going up and down the airfield, and my corporal saying, "You can't see that; it's not there." But of course, there was an expansion of the drone program, and so we were right. We were right to worry about that. It showed us patterns of shootings by British soldiers as well, particularly with reference to Nick's article, which I reread earlier in Kabul and Helmand, particularly one by Royal Marines. And it showed us that civilian casualties were being brushed under the carpet. And it also showed us, and this is key, I think, for people who are in the military and who've served in it, who came back, in many cases, very embittered by the experience, that we were thrown into an unwinnable war with poor strategy, and it was deeply under-resourced by the Americans and by the British.